You remember when you were having dinner one night and your dad said you announced to the table you're having some of the best ribs that you've ever had?
Did he tell you the pig story? What a God, man. So this story of me raising pigs, this is a horrible story, man. Me raising pigs, Oink and Snort. That's where their names. Those were their names. And I helped raise these pigs, and then we're eating dinner one night, and my dad, like, it's amazing to me that he would tell you that story. It makes him look so bad. He said, guess what you're eating? I said, what? He said, either Oink or Snort. And I was like, what? And then he went, yeah, like, that's what we're eating. That's who we slaughtered. I was like, why would you tell a kid that? It makes no sense. Why would you tell your kid that with any semblance of, like, celebration? Or was he just looking to have an impact? I think he was looking to have an impact.
Why?
Psychologically, on camera in front of you, I mean, I could get into it. Like, really, like, when you feel like you don't have an impact, that's when you start to look for any impact, whether it's a negative impact or not. And I think I can break it down to it being that.
And why?
Because I can't imagine saying that to my kid. I can't. It doesn't even. It's nowhere in my universe to say that to a kid. Why would you?
Have you guys talked about that story?
Yeah, we've talked about it. But my dad's an interesting. Not to reveal too much, but my dad's an interesting guy, in that he's super friendly. But there's a stop sign.
How so?
In that, like, you want to go further with this. Do you want to be closer?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I find myself to be a fairly open book with my life, with my kids, whatever, and not regurgitating a bunch of that they don't need to hear, but I think fairly open and honest about my life. I'll give you an example. My daughter gave me a book. God, what's it called? It's a book about getting to know my dad. And it's not because of lack of getting to know me, but it was a book that came in reaction to a story that she knew, where I wrote my dad. I called my dad one day and I said, can you and I get together? Because my mom died, was pretty young, and there's some questions that I would have liked to have asked her that I didn't get to. And my mom was an open book, so I got to know a lot of stuff, but about her past and about her lineage and all that kind of stuff. And I had that moment, and I called my pop and I said, hey, can I come over and talk to you? It's about what? I said, about just you and, like, your likes and dislikes and your past and your family and all that. For what? I don't know, just because I want to get to know you better. There's specifics I would like, and I didn't want it to come across like, when you die, I want to have the good. I didn't want to do that because I didn't want to suggest that he's going to die soon or at any time. And he goes, well, I don't understand. He started to get more stressed about it, and I was like, okay. And I backed up and I said, I tell you what if I put in a recorder and I'll write out a bunch of questions, and then you can just kind of randomly, like, whatever comes in your head. If a question instigates something else other than what the question asked, just riff. Yeah, that sounds great. So I wrote 107 questions, wrote it right then. I still have the 107 questions. And I sent him a manila envelope with a recorder, with the battery in the recorder. I put the battery in the recorder, and then brought it up maybe 6 months later. I said, are you putting stuff on that recorder? And he was like, yeah, where is that thing? And I went, and then I got it. That's not a place you want to go. That, for some reason, without taking it on as, oh, poor me, I'm taking it as there's something about the history of you that you don't want to visit. And that's okay. So I didn't take it personally. But in reaction to that story and knowing that story, 2 years later, 3 years later, my daughter, for Christmas, I open a thing, and it's getting to know my dad better. And I'm still filling it out, hand. I'm probably halfway through it now. So yeah, that's breaking the chain. That's a broken chain. I don't know how exactly, but that's a broken chain.
There was an article that wrote this
Yeah.
that I thought was interesting. It read,
I'm sure you did, Graham.
as Brolin talked about his dad, you get the feeling that he's either realized a truth or rationalized a way enough to accept that James was there for him as much as he could be.
Both. Honestly, both. Honestly, both. It's hard for me, without sounding victimized, which I don't feel, which I think is part of the reason why you write a book. I threw myself into a labyrinth to want to know more about what that is. Not just based on that, a lot of different things. But like, where do you adjust yourself, which is ultimately the only thing you can do, because I can't worry about him changing, and go, why aren't we more compatible? What's the lack of compatibility? Am I more my mom's son? Do I just have that, do I have that bite that he may recoil from? And I think that could be something. And what I would do in reaction to that is bite more.
Why?
Because I am my mother's son. You know what I mean? It's challenge, go into the challenge.
Okay, but then at some point that changed. So what was
That's what I'm
involved
saying.
with
So then
getting to that point?
there's being able to look at myself and saying, look, man, I'm so grateful to this human being that I'm here. I wouldn't be here without him. Like, we can look at the crudeness of it. He laid on my mom and then I showed up. I'm glad. Wasn't the greatest marriage, but he got together with her and I get to be here. Would I rather not be here? No. I like it here. This is fun. This is a fucking crazy circus and I'm having a good time.